Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. So today we have some very big news coming out of the LCS. Obviously, I made a video earlier today where I was talking about how, Kaze said that the TSM roster was done. And just with the state of leaking and everything, there's so many rumor accounts, all this stuff right now. I knew some TSM news was going to be coming out sooner rather than later. And today we have just that. We have a huge TSM roster update for you. A new player that is at least supposedly going to be joining the roster. But before we get into that, a word from today's sponsor, and that is Prize Picks. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. You can put your League of Legends, esports, traditional sports, whatever you want, knowledge to the test and potentially win prizes by choosing props. For instance, I pulled up this here. I think this is actually really cool. They have EU Masters on here. So you can select. I selected Lucker and I select Ignite. This is the AD carry and the mid laner for AGO Rogue. They are going to be playing their EU Masters best of 5 tomorrow. And I just pick whether I think Lucker is going to have over under 11.5 kills, whether I think Knight is going to have over under 8.5 kills. And then you can enter an entry amount, and then you can see the potential prizes you have a chance to win. It is a really cool, easy to use website and app. And if you guys go to prizepicks.com/germ, it's going to be the first link in the description below. For new users, they will match your first deposit up to $100. Thank you so much to Prize Picks for helping me out and supporting me, and I hope you guys will check them out and support them as well. With that being said, let's get right into this. The big news today, coming from LEC Wulu, sources, TSM have acquired support Mia for the LCS summer split. Now, this is crazy, and this has so many different implications, and I have so many different things to say about this. Is one, who is Mia or Maya or however you say it? I really don't know. I had never heard of this guy before. I had never even heard of this being a potential rumor. This comes out of nowhere to me, and I think everyone else. I don't know if there's a single, person in the North American League of Legends community that was like, oh yeah, I know who Mia is. I'm familiar with him. Maybe I'm way off, but I don't really get it. To me, this is very crazy. It's not a name or a rumor that we had heard, anything like that. I had just talked about this morning how I thought probably hanging on to Shenyi would make a lot of sense at this point. He was this huge prospect, that they went out and got, and they spent all this money on. Reggie came out and said, hey, we were a top 5 spending team this year. We spent 7 figures on Shenyi and Kaiduo. We are developing. We're looking towards the future, but we're not going cheap. We're still spending money now. And it seems like all of that has gone out the window. And man, this is just crazy. But we will take a look at this article from Wulu, see what he has going on, see if there's any extra info in here. So again, sources, Mia to join TSM in the LCS. Mia played for Astralis Esports in the LLA. So yes, he is a Korean support, but he is not a guy who was playing in the LCK. He's not a guy who was playing in LCK Academy. This is a guy who was playing in LLA. And if you don't know what that is the Latin American League of Legends League. So this gets even crazier, but it also makes sense why we've never heard of him. Obviously I don't really follow the Latin American leagues that close. I'm sure a lot of you guys don't either. But yeah, apparently he was playing support for Astralis Esports. Now, Wulu does say, Broik Seeger, this is Wulu, he says support Choi Mia Sangin is expected to play for TSM in the League of Legends Championship Series next split, sources are telling Upcomer. TSM are also expected to make a mid-lane change. With these roster shuffles, they will attempt to bounce back from a forgettable spring. So that's also interesting because there was some people saying, hey, maybe TSM's going to run it back. Maybe they go with Takeover. Maybe they go with Kaiduo. But there was also some people throwing out names like Maple, like Jensen. Maybe they go for a random Korean player. Who knows? Maybe they go for a random Chinese player. Who knows at this point? But again, the fact that they will be kind of expected to go with a new mid laner as well, I think is very interesting. So he says the historic and titled North American organization TSM had a disappointing spring split as they finished 9th place in the LCS. South Korean player Mia will replace support Wee, Shenyi, ZG in the starting lineup. Kind of an interesting note there as well. He's just saying he's going to replace Shenyi in the starting lineup. He's not saying what's going to happen to Shenyi, though. He doesn't say Shenyi's kicked. He doesn't say Shenyi's going to be sold off. He doesn't say the team's shopping Shenyi. So is Shenyi gone? Is Shenyi going back to China? Is he going to stay with TSM? Again, TSM spent a lot of money. Their salaries are not cheap. Their buyouts were not cheap. To just get rid of Kaiduo and Shenyi after one split would be a little bit crazy. That would be a very, very hard pill to swallow, even for an organization like TSM. Obviously, they have some of the most resources, the most funding, all this stuff. But I mean, that would be pretty crazy. So is it potential that we see Shenyi in Academy? Is it... I don't know. I don't know. And then if not, where is Shenyi going to get sold off into? Is anyone going to be... somebody's going to be interested in Shenyi. This guy was a very, very hyped prospect coming from, FPX Academy, whatever. And it seems like he had LPL offers. Like there was places he could have gone. There was teams he could have played for. So will he try and go back to the LPL? What's his stock like? How much money could TSM get for him if they sold him off? Are they still going to try to develop him? Is that 3-year plan still in the works? Do they think that Shenyi and Kaido are maybe still the future of TSM? I'm not sure. But as far as Mia, they say his career started in 2017 in Japan with scars. However, he quickly came back to South Korea where he filled in a substitute spot for several teams such as KT Rolster and APK Prince. In 2021, the 23-year-old finally got significant playtime as he traveled abroad to play for Astralis Esports in Latin America. So, this is a guy who was bouncing around some LCK teams, struggling to get playing time, and then finally found a home in the LLA. In the closing split of 2021, Mia's squad finished second in playoffs, losing 3-2 to Infinity, and then Mia remained with the team for the first half of the 2022 season. Estral and Mia managed once again to reach the LLA finals, but the result was no different. Mia and his team fell 3-2 against Team A's, barely missing out on MSI. And apparently Astral's not found a new support yet. And I think this is kind of interesting because you must know that the LLA is one of the weaker regions in the world. They historically do some of the worst at international tournaments. Yes, they have a spot at MSI and they have a spot at Worlds, but they often hardly win any games at these international tournaments, if at all, and those are the best of the best teams. So the fact that this guy, now yes, League of Legends is a team game. I'm not saying he should be carrying his team to titles automatically, but he's playing in one of the weaker regions in the world, which, that just means you're getting worse practice. It's, scrims are worse, solo queues probably worse, a lot of good. It's just not a great sign. It's not a great sign that he was bouncing around the LCK and couldn't find a starting spot. And it's not a great sign that he wasn't like dominating, at least, his team wasn't dominating in Latin America either. So kind of interesting. But again, TSM spent all these resources. They had this 3-year plan, and now it is all blowing up, and that is a very, very hard pill to swallow. Obviously, LS said it looks like TSM was going to be going after Koreans and all that stuff. I don't know if he meant or knew that they were going to be going for Mia support, but then it also begs the question of who is going to be the mid laner at this point? And again, TSM going out and getting some kind of random name out of nowhere isn't necessarily surprising after spending all that money and resources. Could they really just load up again? And then are they going to load up again next offseason? Reggie's already talking about how the LCS isn't a huge moneymaker, how they're doing better off in other things. It doesn't make sense to spend as much money on the LCS, yada, yada, yada. And then they spent all this money and it didn't work out. Again, the writing is on the wall that Reggie and TSM are, caring less and less about the LCS. I do think it seems, and spending less and less on the LCS. So the fact that they didn't go out and get some big name Korean or Chinese prospect, or even spend big money and buy out guys who are definitely available, like Ayla from Team Liquid, isn't surprising, but I do think it is very, very telling. But again, everything we were told this offseason ends up kind of being BS and kind of just being, untrue. The fact that they're talking about a 3-year plan, they're talking about sticking with something, they're talking about building for the future. And again, we're not talking about 1 year into a 3-year plan. We're talking about one split into a 3-year plan. TSM is benching Shenyi, kicking Shenyi, removing him. I don't know, but it seems like Mia is going to be their starting support. And yeah, I'm sure he wasn't expensive. I'm sure it wasn't a huge buyout. I'm sure this is TSM going cheap in a lot of ways. Maybe getting a player that's a little bit better for now. Who knows how he's going to pair up with Tactical? Who knows how good he's going to do? I honestly have no idea. It's really hard for me to give too many opinions. But it definitely doesn't seem like a game-changing move. It definitely doesn't seem like a huge move that's going to take what was a 9th or 10th place TSM team into competing for a world spot. And if you're not competing for a world spot, who gives a shit if you're 9th or 7th or 6th or whatever, especially when you're an organization like TSM, where you are spending all this money, you have all these resources. Then there's also the other side of if this team sucks again in summer, that's got to be increasing the chances of Spica eventually leaving, right? If you sucked in spring and then suck again in summer, why would Spica stay? I don't know, man. This is just not an exciting signing if you were a TSM fan, I don't think. And I don't want to roast this guy too much. Maybe he's going to come here. Maybe he's going to be good. Maybe he's going to surprise some people. Maybe TSM has found something. I don't know. But I think based off the last couple TSM off seasons where they spent all that money on Sword Art, he leaves for free. They spend all this money on Shenyi and Kaido. They're both about to be gone. this is an absolute disaster. This is terrible management, terrible general managing, terrible like scouting. I don't know. Obviously, a lot of it was marred in controversy and drama and behind the scenes issues and, Peter Zhang and all this craziness going on. But I don't know. Rough time to be a TSM fan. If you were excited for the summer split, hey, there's still the mid lane. They could still go out and get a big mid laner, but, I'm really at this point not expecting Jensen. If they went this cheap at the support position, I'm not expecting them to go make a big splash in mid lane. It seems like, and I don't totally blame them, it seems like they're kind of shipping it in for the summer split a little bit. For two reasons. One, maybe there was no way to salvage this roster for the summer split. And two, on such a short timeline, it can be hard to find good players. It can be hard to find players that are going to be worthwhile. So maybe you're better off just kind of, phoning it in for the summer split and making some big splashes before the 2023 season. I don't know. Or maybe it's just a sign that, TSM and Reggie, they're, not necessarily feeling the LCS anymore. Maybe the investment isn't necessarily worth it. And maybe, rather than spending money like they have last couple off seasons, they're looking to scale back a little bit and see, what kind of happens for that. I don't know. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Let me drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this move for TSM. Are you excited? Do you think it's a good move, bad move, somewhere in between? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Consider checking out Prize Picks. First link in the description below, prizepicks.com/IamGerm, or download it on the App Store or Google Play Store today. Hopefully I catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.